What's going on, guys? It's Sep, and today I'm teaching you how to play solo Iron Banner. Yeah, I know, it's the nightmare everyone thinks it is. It's not that bad, I promise. So, tip number 1. You are going to want to launch right off the beginning of the game and bolt for the enemy team. I know this is silly, guys. Do not worry about it. You are slowing the enemy team down as much as possible. If you get 1 or 2 kills, that's all it takes, because it allows your team to get first cap and it allows them to go ahead and decide whether or not they want to engage with you or head to the second cap point. It's going to be extremely crucial. You're going to want to play in the enemy's face as much as you possibly can. It's going to help you in the long run. Up next, you're going to want to do zone rotations. So let's say you have 2 points capped. The one thing that you're going to want to focus on is rotating around the map and helping your team protect the zones at all costs. You see a red dot near a flag, you rotate around to it. It's going to be the number one thing that's going to allow you to win games and stay on top, is making sure that you're not playing their spawn, you're playing yours. There are times where you're going to want to be as aggressive as possible, and I'll go over that later, but for right now, the number one thing you can do is the second you see something getting capped, is you want to keep the enemies away from it as much as you can. Make sure that you are trusting your team. The only reason that I would play a spawn here is because B's right behind me, and I know that they're going to be spawning around there or bolting for it. You can see it pop up in the corner a lot. It's going to be the number one thing to go over. Right here, I'm trying to clear out the flag as much as I can because you did see that they capped C. So even taking a trade there, I cleared out enough that the teammates are able to move in on A by themselves. And that way we can recapitalize and try to get the cap points back. Remember, this is not team deathmatch. You are doing your absolute best you can to make sure that we are capping zones. You want 2 zones up at all times, and as a solo queue, it is very rare you want to trio queue. This goes right into tip number 3. The second that you have 3 points captured, you have 30 seconds to get as many kills as possible. You are saving your super for this moment. You want the second that you see those 30 seconds go up, because you will lose all the zones at the end, you want to get as many kills as possible. It is extremely important that you are stacking up as much as you can for your team, because trust me, that the second those 3 zones go up, you're going to lose the advantage and you're immediately going to have to play defense. So you're going to want to get that point gap up a lot, because the opponents will be trying to do the exact same thing. Is it worth capping 3 points at all? Well, sadly, as a solo queue, your team's not really going to let you decide. Next, we have a perfect example of you want to keep supers down as much as possible, even if that means literally throwing away your life. Staying alive in Iron Banner isn't almost ever the goal. The goal is to keep your points captured. Now, that means that you're going to be in some situations where you're going to be dying a lot, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you see that you have 2 points captured and you're trading every single kill, that means you are gaining your team a additional point every single time that you trade a kill. It is not a bad thing. You want to keep the game moving. You want to make sure that you're getting as much done as possible. And remember that dying isn't necessarily a negative impact. It's really important. I know Iron Banner is a really fast-paced game, and I know that a lot of you, maybe you don't feel too confident in your gun skill, but if you do things like rotate cap points and supers, you will be able to win your games. It is extremely, extremely important. You'll see myself going after supers literally all game. Every single time I hear one popped, I will be rushing them down. Because at the end of the day, even if I die while going for it, if I can kill it or get it weak enough that a teammate kills it, then it prevents 5 of my teammates dying on top of it. You want to be playing for your team, not for your own KD, because you will win games if you do so. It's gonna take a lot of effort, I know that, but right here, another thing that you can do is make sure that you're playing around the opponent's spawns. I know it's awkward because you're not exactly around your cap point, but it wastes their time. If you're wasting their time, then it is causing your team to get even more time to cap the other points. I almost never recommend that you go for B, because B is right in the middle. I always recommend going for A and C, because especially on burnout, it's going to allow the enemies to kind of get stuck in a spawn where they don't want to be, or they end up splitting a lot. You want to be able to take down the enemy in a psychological manner for sure. It's it's going to give you that upper advantage that you need. This burnout game ended up being one of my highest kill games, or not highest kill, but highest point games ever. Even as a solo queue, you were able to perform for your team. This team that we played against was a 3-stack and a another 2-stack. So even though the odds were stacked against us because we were all solo queues, it ended up dominating anyways. This ended up being an 81 point game. It's literally one of the highest I've ever had. So trust me, it's something that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to is your zone control, because the zone advantage points are huge. Make sure you're using whatever points or advantage you can when you can. Next tip that I can give you guys is make sure that whenever you are playing right off the bat in the beginning, you want to be in your opponent's face. You want to make sure that you are staying alive as much as you can, even if you're not necessarily getting a lot of kills or dying, because this is going to allow you to get the zone captures right off the beginning of the game. I know I kind of said this in the beginning, but this is very important that throughout the game you are staying in front of the enemy spawn and in between the spawn and the cap point. You don't want to be sitting behind the cap point. You want to be the one aggressing, because it's going to keep your zones clear. You'll see here that my teammates lost a little bit of zone control, so we cleared out C and we went ahead and ran over to B to make sure that we could get there as quickly as possible to clear it out for us. Now, this is obviously one of my favorite maps, so once I saw that there were quite a few people kind of playing back, decided to go outside of the map, and this allowed me to get behind the entire team. It's very, very crucial that you're the one being aggressive, because you know your team, they're going to be lost. Assume that they have no idea what is going on, because it's a nightmare out here. I know, solo queue Iron Banner, it's tough. Nobody wants to play it, but it's extremely fun when you're the one playing with your team. You can do a lot for them that they don't even know. You need to be the one who's playing aggressive. You need to be the one that's pushing forward. And trust me, at the end of the day, you'll have a lot more fun in Iron Banner. I'm going to go ahead and show a couple more clips just for the sake of it, because, you know, I had a couple really fun games, and they're good examples of how you should be playing it. But remember, stay in your opponent's face, rotate your cap zones, make sure that you're popping supers only for zone advantage, and that you are staying alive as much as you can. But if you die, that's okay. Make sure you are always dying with zone advantage. And that way, when you're getting kills, even when you die, it doesn't matter. The zones are more important than your life 100% of the time. People seem to forget about that, but trust, it's going to save you games. This was another game that was against 2 3-stacks. I did not think we would be able to pull this game out, but we did anyways, because you know what? When you're playing the correct way with your team, it doesn't matter how much of a disadvantage you're at. This entire team, I think I had 1 duo queue on my team and the rest were solos. You have to play for your objective. People seem to be forgetting that, but you can do it, and I know it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to show a couple more things, but other than that, that's going to be it. Thank you so much, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.
Like a hero from the Dark Age. Keep fighting, and you will have Zabala's job someday.